and expect a lot of stupid questions to come your way. Because some people, they have nothing to do. They just want to ask a question because they are recording, there is a camera. So there is this is the only proof that they existed in this world. Because if they see them on YouTube, hello? So they know that you existed, right? This is the evidence. We have a hard evidence that you exist. There is a video. They got you on tape. So you exist. So they ask a question. So I shared some of these questions with you. One time, the brother came to, it was Ramadan time, and the hall was packed. We had like 500 people. I gave everything you need to know about Ramadan, how to get the best out of Ramadan and everything. So after the talk, the first guy, suit and tie, mashallah, like mashallah. You have a question? Yeah. So what's your question? He said, does the cat have to fast in Ramadan? First, I thought he was talking about zakat in Ramadan, like paying charity in Ramadan. He said, no, zakat, my cat. So, well, it's a stupid question, but maybe he doesn't know. Maybe he's, I don't know his background. So, some of the people started to laugh. They were on the floor, you know. I said, no, maybe he doesn't know. Fasting is only for human beings. Your cat, if you have whatever parrot in the house, they don't have to fast. Fasting is only for Muslims. Non-Muslims don't have to fast. Anything else doesn't have to fast. You see, he didn't know. Terrible questions. And my top question, and I always say this, you must be bored by now, but I got this question and I will never forget it. The question that I got about jinn, whether they lay eggs or give birth. I said, who the heck cares? I said, I don't know. But he said, you have to give me an answer. You are the imam. You are hired here. You have to give me an answer because this is important. And I said, well, he's not going away. I told him, I don't know. I don't know if they give birth or lay eggs. Who cares? It's not an important thing. At the end, I told him, you know what? I was too young when all of this happened. Everything came about. So I really was not paying attention, so I don't know. One guy came to here. I gave him a tour with Abu Isa for an hour. And he said, tell me about prophets. So I told him about different prophets. And he had a question about homosexuality. I don't know what was wrong with people in this masjid and outside. That same week, I got this question like 15 times. I gave a talk to the youth, talk to us about homosexuality. I go to the sisters, what if my colleague is homosexual? I come to the brothers, what if I'm working with someone who is homosexual? This guy came, what if I'm a homosexual and I want to accept Islam? I said, what's wrong with these? Everybody's talking about the same thing. Then he said, is homosexuality mentioned in the Quran? And I said, yes, in the story of Lot. Sodom and Gomorrah, it's the same story in the Bible and in the Quran. He said, do you know the story when the angels came to Lot in the form of human beings? I said, yes. He said, when they came in the form of human beings, were they tall or short? Were they white or black? Were they thin or thick? Abu Isa is my witness. He was there and I said, who the hell cares, man? They just came. This is not the point. They just came to give him the news. He said, but I have to know. And I said, you have to look at the big picture. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't talk about these fine details because they don't really matter. Look at the big picture. This is what matters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, most of the time, He doesn't give us the name of the wife of Al-Aziz. He doesn't, because the name doesn't matter. What matters is the moral of the story. This is what the wisdom behind the story. So expect some funny questions. And the only stupid question is the one that is not asked. And two people will never learn, as some of the ulama say. Those who are arrogant to ask and those who are shy. We're almost done. If you want to be an effective speaker, and if you want people to listen to you, if you want to have an impact, avoid divisive topics. Like if you are giving a talk, there are some certain things you should not talk about. First of all, you should not talk about politics. Because you will find people who are with and people who are against. So if you give a khutbah in support of conservatives, half of the masjid is liberals, and they will fight with you. Also, if you speak about marrying more than one wife, if the brothers, of course, you will be their hero. Yeah, mashallah, we love the brother. You should hire him as an imam. All the sisters will sign a petition to fire you. If you speak about Sunnah and Shia, someone will not be happy. There are so many different topics that are, controversial, and I mean, there is no point in learning about these things. What are you trying to prove? You are only dividing the community. Khalas, if it is not an issue, khalas, leave it alone, everybody is happy. You have to have the knowledge of what you are talking about. You can't just stand up and give a talk. Like, one person will come to you and say, I want to give a talk about something. But you're not specialized in the field. You have to have some knowledge before you are able to speak. And I think I gave this story before you're bored of it. The guy who was giving a talk about Udhiyah and before Eid al-Adha, Qurbani, the Feast of Sacrifice, and he was not a scholar, he just memorized some surahs from the Quran. So after some time, because he was the only person who knew Quran in the village, a small village somewhere in one country in the Southeast Asia, so he was the only educated person in the town. He memorized some Quran, so for them he was Hujjah, he was Allama, he was a scholar. So he started to read from a book and explain, but he was not a scholar, he was not educated. So he told them, it says in the book, I think it was Fiqh al-Sunnah or something, it is recommended to have wudu, purification, for the Qurbani, for the Udhiyah. So he told them, he explained, it is Sunnah to have the animal to have wudu before you kill it. So you wash the mouth of the animal, the nose, the ears, and the legs. The animal basically has to make wudu before you kill it. But this is wrong. What is meant here, it is recommended to face the Qibla, and the person who is offering the sacrifice to wash himself, to have a, but it's only recommended. It's only recommended, it's not an obligation. So inshallah, this is the last slide. It will help you to memorize a khutbah very easily. If they ask you to give a talk, and if you're not prepared, the easiest way to make a talk is to give them a story. This is the easiest way to build the talk, is to give them a story. A very impressive story, motivational story. Then you can comment on the story, what we can learn from the story. This is the easiest way to give a khutbah. You do some reading backgrounds, sum up your talk in points, and you have to organize your khutbah. And the easiest way to organize a khutbah is to put it like when you write an essay. You start with the introduction, the body, the problem, then the solution or the conclusion. Right? How can you memorize the khutbah? Well, the easiest way to prepare a khutbah or a talk is to put it in a chronological or a logical order. I say, for example, if I'm talking about someone, say for example, I'm going to start about someone's life. I say, well, he got his PhD in 2005. He has 4 children. He died in 2012. He got married in 1995. He was born in 1965. He went to college when he was 20 years old. He retired when he was this. He went to high school. Believe me, you will never be able to memorize this. The easiest way is to put it in a logical order. He was born in 1965. He went to school when he was 7 years old. Then he went to high school. Then he went to college. He got his BA. He got his master's. He got his PhD. He got married. He died right up, because this is what happens, because when you get married, khalas, this is the end of your life. No. He got married. He has 4 kids. He got a job. He retired and he died. This is the logical order, right? It becomes very easy. So when you put it in this logical order, now you sum up, you talk about the life of this person in 4 words. Birth, childhood, education, marriage, work, retirement, and death. When you remember these 5 words, when you give a talk, you don't have to memorize the whole thing. So I'm going to talk about his birth and childhood 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Then I talk about education, 2-3 minutes. His marriage, 10 minutes. Then his divorce, his children, his education, and his work, if you give 2 minutes to each of these points, you have a khutbah of 30 minutes. This is the easiest way to come up with a very good khutbah. So always sum up your khutbahs in words. 4 or 5 words. If you remember these 5 words in order, in a logical order, then you will be able to remember, you remember your talk. The worst thing you can do in life, well, it's a good thing sometimes to give a presentation because some people are visual. It's good to show them videos and cartoons and funny things. The worst thing you can do in your life as a speaker or a talker is to read from a paper. It will give the bad impression about you that you are an idiot, you don't know anything, or you have amnesia, you can't remember 4 words: birth, education, marriage, work, retirement, and death. Right? So this is the worst thing you can do. Plus, some people, when they read from the thing, they can't see clearly because there's not enough light. They forgot their glasses, so they always stumble when they read. And as I said, it doesn't give a lot of credibility when you're reading from a piece of paper. People don't respect this, most of the people. And you keep stumbling on things and making mistakes, especially when you have problem with the spacing or the font is very small. Like this story, it's a true story. One guy in Egypt, that was like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, he used to give a talk. He stumbled on this book that gives like transcripts of all khutbahs, like from 1,000 years ago. So every Jum'ah, he copied the khutbah, and he used to read the khutbah from the paper. So one time, he was giving the talk, and while he was reading, he says, لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله إن الزناعم والبلاطم 51. Well, it doesn't mean anything in Arabic. I'm not going to translate because it's just gibberish. It doesn't mean anything. So after the khutbah, they said, of course, at the end, he always made dua for Sultan Ahmed. May Allah give him a long life. And he died 1,000 years ago because that was the norm at the time. At the end, you make dua for the Sultan. Ash Sultan. Long live Sultan. Sultan is dead 1,000 years ago. But anyway, they said, what did you mean when you said, إن الزناعم والبلاطم 51. He said, Wallahi, this is what the paper says. They looked at it, and it says, إن الزنا عم والبلا طم committing adultery is everywhere, and fitna and tribulations and tests are everywhere. Oh my God, this is what it says. But because of the spacing, he mispronounced the thing. So I think we're going to leave at this. So if you came late, then inshallah maybe we can meet next week if you are interested. Choose a topic for 3, maximum 5 minutes. Then we're going to ask some of you to give talks in front of us based on the stuff we learned today. And if you are ready, we'll give you a certificate from the masjid that you attended and you are able to give a talk. So those who come next time, inshallah, they will be qualified to give talks at Prague Jum'ah Khutbah. And I'll help them with the introduction, the dua you say at the end, and the dua at the end, and how to build up your khutbah. But now you have the basics to give a khutbah and give a talk. Wallah subhanahu wa ta'ala a'la wa a'lam. So, how many of you plan to come next Saturday, 2 o'clock? We'll give you a certificate. After 2:30. Khalas, we'll meet at 2:30 inshallah if you want to continue. Prepare a topic of your choice. Choose a topic and prepare something to speak about this topic for 3, maximum 5 minutes, inshallah. If you are qualified, you will be certified. Any questions? Questions?
So how tall was the income?
Terrible. Barakallahu feekum. We'll see you next week, inshallah.
Well, before you guys go, if there's no questions, we need some brothers and sisters to just help chairs for today's event, please. If we can get some brothers, help set up chairs upstairs.
بارك الله فيك يا أبا